So let's think about what things you could possibly do to get you to that point. Okay, so talk to me about what strategies you might be able to put in place, because at the moment what you've told me is strategies that the school has in place already. So have you thought about anything that you might be putting in place?
Something I thought about, like I said, I want him to be involved in lessons. One of the ways I thought of is using resources, because I have realized when he's got resources, it's really helped him and it's really engaged. So being resourceful, because he's so distracted with the resources, he won't be thinking like to hit other children. So, and like I said before, I want him to be involved with my lessons. So resources would be a good one, or having his own individual area in the classroom, so he's still involved in some way or another. Have his own little table with his resources and what for the one-to-one to work with him away from the class a bit, but he's still in class where I can overlook what he's doing and what he's able to do and what he's achieving, etc. So I think those two would be a great way to support this SEN child.
Okay, so one of the options you said was having a resource involved, create a personal resource for him. What was the other one?
An own area in the classroom for him to work.
Okay, so an own area. Okay, are there any other options that you can think of?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, that's fine. So talk to me about those two options in detail now. So what might be the pros and cons of those options? So the first one is creating resources for that child.
So one of the cons would be, well, let's start with the pros, because I feel like that's a really good way to start. I think one of the pros could be when you're making resources, I'm going to make sure that, you know, it's something that links to the lesson as well as his interest. For example, this SEN child is really into like dinosaurs and cars. Like every time I've seen him, he's always playing with stuff like cars and dinosaurs. So making sure that resources include those stuff with his interest as well as the learning goal. What is my learning object? What is the point of the lesson? And put those two together would be quite nice. One of the cons could be that he might get distracted and he might not actually learn from the resources because he's so busy playing with it. So I feel like that could be a con of having resources. The other one is the table. He will get that. The pros would be he will get that support from his one-to-one and away from the classroom a little bit, from the class, but he's still in my eyes, so where I can oversee him and overlook him. A con would be that he's not as included with the rest of the class as I would like him to be. So yeah, I think that's one of like the con of him working away from the rest of the class.
How might the class respond to both of those strategies?
I think if they see that, you know, this SEN child's got the resources and they haven't got it, they will be very upset. But again, it's my duty to explain to them that it's for his learning and it's to benefit his learning. And I think my class are quite understanding in that sense. So they're quite, I wouldn't say mature because they're reception children, but they're quite understanding, thankfully. So I think they would understand. They would be upset at first, but if it's explained to them why this SEN child needs this, they will understand a little bit more better. Again, we're working away from the class. It might affect them because they might feel like, oh, this child is not with them and they're working away and they're not getting the attention from that other additional teacher that is in my class.